Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Yari Show. It's your host, Yari. If you're listening to this, it's already Wednesday. And I have a special guest on the show. Introduce yourself, Mr. Special Guest.
I don't know about special. I would just say just a guest. But this is Jon Draper from Wrestling Suit, man. What's going on?
Hey, not much, man. How you been?
Good. I'm just trying to get this new setup going. We're trying to get a little more technology sound for the new year with the show. So I got a new setup we're working with here.
What kind of computer did you get?
What is this? Like AO? What the hell is this called? Hold on. I don't even know. It's nice though. An AOS? Is that right? I don't know.
I don't know.
AOS something.
I don't know dick about computers, so I'm just
I just show up. I just plug it in and hope it works.
Yeah, it's usually what you can afford. You like whenever I hear Mish like talk about like computer stuff, he'll be like, "Yeah, the motherboard and this, that." I'm like,
"Yeah, tell me about it."
I'm just I feel like I'm back in like second grade. Like what?
I'm the bane of his existence with this stuff. I assure you. But we got a lot of stuff to add to this thing, but it's working a lot better. I was working off a very old laptop. I was working off like a very old Toshiba satellite laptop, and then I had a desktop, but it just didn't have the specs. And I think we got I don't know how many I don't know what we got. We got like three. I don't know what we have in this house. We got 4 laptops, and now a desktop, and 3 tablets, and. But hopefully I'll get a little bit more astute in the new year.
I'm like, I think I'm like 50 something episodes in, and I'm still learning how to edit and like deal with this shit.
Oh yeah, well, editing's key. I mean, like we had a show. I guess it was like last week. We did like a double shot show for Patreon, and Mish was just basically like, he does everything. So he edits the shows. He's like a one-man band with everything technology for the show, and he also does a lot of stuff, I think, for DT and KC. But DT is actually very astute with that stuff too. My brother and I are, if I could make a literary reference or a movie reference, the Monkees at the beginning of 2001. I would say that would probably be a fair, accurate thing where they're just hitting on the thing and they throw the bone up in the air. I think that's a fairly accurate description.
That was pretty much me as a kid. Like, whenever your game would, like, I guess freeze, you would just, like, hit the system and hope it works.
Yeah. Or like Atari, we would just blow on the cartridge and put it back in and hope it worked. You just bang it. You Fonzie it. It's like it stands the test of time.
Hey, let me ask you something. Did you watch SmackDown? Or are you watching?
I was watching it. No, I was watching it. I mean, it was definitely better than Raw. It's funny. I was watching it, and at one point, I guess they had the heel chicks come out. And my wife was sitting next to me on the couch, like she doesn't watch it, and then she just like mutters to herself, and she was like, "I just find this so utterly stupid." Yeah, and I was just like, well, I mean, it's Mandy and like these. I was like, these aren't exactly the highbrow people here. I mean, but I get the point. I think. The people who are really bad are so bad, and to Mandy's credit, she's great to look at and she's very green. But to have her walk out and cut like that heel promo, to Charlotte and Becky and Paige is just like, oh, you couldn't get somebody else to do that. And then even like when what's her face came out, the Glow with that Naomi.
Naomi, yeah.
She was just like eating her words too, like blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, nobody could this is it. You can't you had like 2 lines.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You can't sell 2 lines, 3 lines.
Well, this
is for how many years?
Well, this is what I kind of like look forward to when they move to Fox, when they're supposedly just going to go back to having just like one big company instead of like 2 brands. Where
I'm over the brand split, dude. Somebody put a thing out, was like, what's the key factors that you think could make this better? And one of the things I put in there was, obviously a lot of people say this, is making the show 2 hours for Monday. Yeah. I think would be a big factor, but also the brand split's got to go. Yeah. I mean, it's not, basically you have one really bad show and one show that's not as bad as the other show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, like, just go back to having having one woman's title, because the division on both shows is like, there's like 2 or 3 good girls and that's it. Well, I mean, that's the thing. There's a lot of like jabronis on both rosters, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not just the women, but in this particular case, the women, the women have been doing a much better job the latter part of the year. That's for sure. I mean, there's definitely, you could make an argument and say Evolution was maybe one of the better pay-per-views of the year. Because, definitely.
You wouldn't be wrong. And Survivor Series, I think, probably being non-NXT, probably the best one of the year. I have to really think about it. There's been some okay ones. I didn't actually hate SummerSlam that much, or it was okay. Just okay seems to be like a home run. It's like Little League. Just making contact and your coach is like, oh, this is fucking great. You make contact. The problem is there's not enough people making contact. And when somebody does, like what's happening with Becky, like Elias kind of catching some props right now and, getting an audience reaction. Like Rusev Day for the first half of the year or the middle of the year. Like these things are very singular. So I think if you had one company and you had 2 shows spread out, the Monday night and the Friday night, you would have all this stuff happen on Monday and they'd be like, well, fuck, I got to see what happens on Friday, because now I got to wait 4 days and then like have it come out Friday and be like, this is what happened on Monday. And like, now here's what's happening on Friday. And then boom, you get the day off necessarily to go home for pay-per-views, which, you got to remember, a year from now, we're going to have a Friday show setting up a Sunday pay-per-view for the most part, which is, should make it a little bit more interesting. Right now you have a Tuesday show, and then by the time the pay-per-view rolls around, you may have forgot about what happened on Tuesday.
That's what I miss about, there just being like one title, one Intercontinental title, one set of tag championships, and one women's champion, because, back in the day it was like, I'm just going to throw random names. Stone Cold was the champion, Intercontinental champion was Chris Jericho, I'm just going to put it out there. Tag champs were Road Dogg, or not Road Dogg, I'll say like Edge and Christian. And the women's champion was probably like Trish Stratus. When China or whatever. Yeah, when you saw those guys as champions, like, they must mean something because there's only one of those. Now it's like, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. One of the things Joey brought up a couple weeks ago, I don't know if it was on Patreon or I think it was during our recap of Survivor Series, where he was talking about selling the Intercontinental belt as a big deal. Because, if you look at it historically, that was your springboard before you got the main title. For certain people, that was the ceiling. And for other people, it was like, you got to get that first before you get to the next title. And this is going back to the 80s. I mean, it might be going back to the 70s, for the fuck I know. You got the Intercontinental title, and then that was a way to see if you were ready to go to the next step. I mean, look at the history of that belt. You could discount maybe the last 10 years, but if you look at the history of that, that was a star belt. I mean, that was your number 2 guy in the company had that belt. Either your number 2 babyface or your number 1 heel or your number 2 heel. Nobody shitty had that belt. And I think what they're trying to do with it by giving it back to people like Rollins or Ziggler or Miz or whoever, and a little bit with the U.S. title, but that was from WCW. That doesn't have the lineage in WWF or WWE. Yeah. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, hey, remember when this was important? Like, only really good people get this now. Yes. So, like, here's Seth Rollins, who's technically the hottest babyface in the company, or at least the top babyface. He's gonna hold on to that belt, and if he loses it, he's gonna try to get it back because it's really, really important to him. Dean will probably win it, and then they'll fight over the belt. But I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen, but it seems to make sense if that's what's going to happen. Who knows? But I like the idea of one rung of belts. Here's the tag champs. Here's the IC champ. Get rid of the fucking U.S. title. Nobody gives a shit about the U.S. title. Here's the WWE champ. Here's the women's champ. And, maybe you could have the ancillary belt with the U.S. Title, maybe. I
would say keep the Cruiserweight belt. I wouldn't mind keeping that around.
Well, it's a completely separate show, though. So, like, you could, that's different, though, because it's a completely separate show.
I mean, yeah, because, going back to those days, having just one set of titles, the only real reason that they had to do a brand split was because they had a fuck ton of talent on the show. You know, back in the day, it was, you know, Steve Austin, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, and then eventually it brought in that OVW class of Lesnar, Cena, Orton. So they were just thinking, you know, we have too much talent on the show. We don't want to let it go to waste. So why not do a brand split? So
yeah, the brand split. I think the brand split's done. I think that was probably part of the Fox thing, because and I brought this up, I guess, when they announced the Fox thing. I was like, well, if Raw has all these big guy names like Braun and Brock and Roman and this and that, and then you're Fox, you're like, well, I don't want all these little shitty guys. I want the same guys that you're showing on your other network show. I want the same people.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I insist on having those people. I couldn't imagine Fox paying all this money to be like, all the bigger guys, like stature-wise and like draw-wise, for the most part, they're going to be on Mondays. And then Fridays, we'll give you like, you know, the mid-level guys. No, they want to see this. The same people that are going to open a show a year from now on a Monday will open the show on Friday, just like it used to be back in the day, just like it was like when they merged back and forth and unified the belts. I think unifying the belts is totally going to happen. It might not be Mania this year because the brand split's not until the fall and Mania's in April. That's a huge gap. So I don't know that would make sense. But I think they will unify the belts again, which would be fun. They might unify the U.S. belt with the Intercontinental belt. You know, maybe that's their night of champions, is they just unify all these belts. That'd be fun.
What would be an interesting idea is if they do it at Survivor Series next year, where they like to do the whole champion versus champion notion. Like, you know, have the main event being the Universal Champion versus the WWE Champion. Whoever wins that is the champion is pretty much the undisputed champion. Like they did a long time ago.
And that, by the way, that's a springboard into, well, it might be too late because I think Fox is October, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you know, they start that, and then, you know, you can have Vince McMahon or whoever be like, you know, it's a Survivor Series.
They can announce it on Fox, right? Yeah, they can announce it on Fox, you know, and be like, we're going to shake it up, and we're actually going to unify all these belts, and that makes SummerSlam like an insane must-watch thing because, you know, there's going to be like 12 champs, and only 6 are walking out, and those 6 are going to be on both shows going forward indefinitely. I'm tired of the brand split. I mean, there's just so many issues at this point. Especially last night was really big. I mean, I knew the show was bad, but I just kind of shut it off and went out my night. And then I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people who do like what we do, and you know, you can't really do that. Like you can, but you can't really do that. I mean, I don't have Hulu right now. I go back and forth with Hulu sometimes. But, like, I'm not going to, like, not watch it and then Hulu it Tuesday and then just put random things out about it, like, Wednesday and Thursday. You know, that's not how this works. You need to watch it. You need to kind of talk about it a little bit in real time. And then if you springboard into a show on Wednesday or Thursday, or like what my brother does on Mondays with Don Tony or whatever, like, can you imagine DT and KC if they just stopped watching Raw? Like, how the fuck would they, like, no, like, they have to watch Raw.
It's kind of like guys who review movies, like, I think it was Roger.
You gotta see the movie.
I think it was Roger Ebert. Everyone asked him, you know, how cool is your job that you get to watch movies? And he's like, you know, it's not cool all the time because I got to watch shitty movies too.
Well, yeah. Roger Ebert had to watch like Silent Night, Deadly Night. You know what I mean? Which is a rad movie for me, but for him, he had to go see like shitty movies. Or
Pootie Tang.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, this motherfucker went to a movie theater and saw Pootie Tang. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, this is really, like, am I really here? Like, you know, he had to go see the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1989. Like, he had to go see that.
Hey,
or the first Power Rangers.
That was part of my childhood. But
was it? I actually took my wife to see that in a movie theater, and there was a gang fight broke out. Like, she's a few years younger than me, and I was 17 and she was like 14, and like a fight broke out and we had to leave the middle of teenage. And I'm like, and I remember even at 17 being like, who the fuck goes to fight a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like, what? Like, what was going on that was so divisive in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you had to like have like a 6-on-6 fight and like the lights went on? It was fucking crazy, dude. I remember that shit. It was fucking ill. That was old school Brooklyn shit right there. That was crazy. But yeah, I mean, like last night, obviously there was a lot of people. Like, I listened to Jason today. I listened to JD a little bit, JD from New York, and I saw a lot of other people post stuff. And even Meltzer. I listened to Meltzer today, which I normally don't do. And it was this tsunami of people being like, this is the worst fucking show I've ever seen. Like, this is terrible. This is lifeless. And my concern was that it's just, you have so many people watching like peripherally right now and like not really watching it, that they're so close to shutting it off. And then you go and you have that show and they're going to shut it off. I mean, like they will shut this thing the fuck off. They will.
Yeah, I tuned in like midway because I think I maybe got home from work or whatever, and I just turned it on because it's Raw. I got to watch Raw.
Yeah, it's Monday. It's Raw. Right, 20 years.
I have the show, so I cover wrestling, I cover movies, anything else. So I watch it, and I forget what the first thing on that I saw. I think it was when Nia came out and cut her promo of her Ronda impression. And I'm just like, I just wrote on Twitter, I'm sick of this bitch. She needs to fucking go. Can Ronda just beat her face in and have Becky pick up what's left?
Well, don't you think she's synonymous with like everything? Like she's like, if you could take 3 or 4 people as examples of what the problem is. Obviously, people would say Corbin. I mean, like Meltzer went to town on Corbin. Oh my God. Corbin, Nia. Bobby Lashley, but Bobby Lashley hasn't been here that long. Corbin's been on the roster for a few years. Nia's been on the roster for a couple of years, whatever. Like Lashley only came back 9 months ago. I mean, like Lashley hasn't been doing that. Lashley hasn't been stinking up Monday nights for years. There are other people who have done that. So I think, Corbin, Lashley, well, we'll have to throw him in there, I suppose. Bobby Lashley sucks. Baron Corbin, and I'm not big on Drew McIntyre. I know a lot of people are kind of drinking the Drew McIntyre Kool-Aid. I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it at all. He's definitely way better than he was, that's for sure. But
that's what I was going to say, because I remember when he was here before, he basically he looked exactly like Blue Blood Triple H, but he was like tall and skinny. But he did nothing.
Scottish Triple H, would you say, like a Scott Triple H,
or as you call him, Groundskeeper Willie?
And by the way, I don't even this is not for nothing, but that he's just not. I mean, I'm not a small dude, whatever, but I don't find these guys very physically intimidating to me. And I know they're massive men. I would never want to have punch me in the face, but I think they're they're so cartoonish. Like Baron Corbin literally looks like a special needs waiter. He looks like a waiter who got the job, because his uncle owns the place and he was a forceps baby. And or he's a waterhead, and he looks like he has some sort of some special needs thing with him, right?
What's weird is that when he talks, it sounds like he's gargling, like he has marbles in his mouth.
Because he's uncomfortable, and that's it too. And it's funny.
David Corbin, here's my vest.
I've seen 4 NXTs house shows in a row.
Yeah.
Up here, right? And the first one he was at the first one. And he got into a fight, an actual fight with people in the stands that were goofing on him. And I was sitting on the other side. It might have been the second year, not the first year. It might have been the last year, and he got moved up. I don't even remember who he fought. And to his credit, he was ready to go. This was legit. There was some big dudes in there. Maybe somebody threw something at him or something. And he was like, fuck you, and blah, blah, blah. This was not a bullshit thing. But the funny thing was the people who were going to fight him were half his size, and they just didn't give a shit. Now, they could have been drunk. They could have just been fucking, whatever. But I remember watching that, and I was like, his big greasy hair and his Waterworld outfit and his bad tattoos. And I was just like, yeah, dude, I'd fucking laugh at this dude. I'd be like, fuck you. Yeah, you're huge. And you're a Golden Gloves boxer. That's great. You're a jerk off.
You said that, I just thought of something. It kind of reminds me of it's like a 180 in wrestling in a way, because back in the day, if you saw Undertaker coming down the ramp, you wouldn't fuck with him. But if you saw someone shorter,
Road Warriors.
If you saw someone shorter like a Chris Jericho, you would probably go in there, and that actually did happen.
I don't know that it's so much physicality; it's also the way you carry yourself.
Well, no,
Road Warriors.
I was going to get into that because, back in the day, a big guy actually looked like a big guy. He was intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, you just have guys that are tall.
If you saw Ron Simmons up close, we were Ron Simmons fans, me and my brother, back to when he was in Doom with Butch Reed. And we remember Ron Simmons won the belt. We always liked Ron Simmons. And then, when he became Farouk, we were like, oh, this is terrible. We feel terrible. We saw Ron Simmons, I think, somewhere. and he was so wide. You looked like you could climb into him and drive him around as a vehicle. I mean, and he's not he's a huge man, but he's not the biggest guy. I mean, there's certainly way bigger people. I mean, I remember seeing, just jobber guys walking in and out of Madison Square Garden, going to get the train or getting a cab or whatever, and they were all enormous men. And I don't think it's not just tall. I'm just talking about when you see somebody physically and you go, yeah, that's a fighter. That's somebody who's does something physical for a living. That's somebody whose size is a part of their vocation. Bobby Lashley is just a guy with a great physique who also looks like he was a forceps baby. Terrible promo. Just terrible promo. I mean, when you see Corbin, Lashley, and for me, the Scottish goth guy in there, the goth Scot, he's dyed just for men, greasy hair. It's like we've seen this before, dude. Like, we've seen this so many times. Like maybe shave your head or like get a different look or something like that. And they give him the bagpipes intro with like the metal. I'm like, oh, this is fucking corny, man. Like, I'm not big on McIntyre. I'm not. I know my brother is huge on McIntyre. He thinks McIntyre is like a blue chipper now. But me and the Soup Boys were like, we've seen this. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. They're the new authority. I mean, I think Jason, I don't know if Meltzer was saying it, but that last night was the new authority. And then you have Alexa doing the Stephanie fucking routine. And we're back to the authority, just like that.
So basically they're just taking Triple H and Stephanie off the television and replacing them with actual like wrestlers.
Yeah, and it's all this weird stuff too about like how wrestlers are running the program, and like that's like, and I don't know, there's so many disjointed things. Like I'm very critical of Renee. I just think she's not doing a good, like she's completely throwing her hands up in the air.
What?
Like, yeah, she's just completely like they ask her about a husband. She's like, I have no idea what's going on. It's like, okay, the only way that would work is if in a month or a week she does a crazy heel turn, which would be fucking kind of cool, and no one would it would be a tough sell, don't get me wrong, but it seems like she's setting herself up to say that she's a heel. Like, you know what I mean? Like that she's, in some capacity, she's complicit, like in Dean being a dick to the fans and saying all this shit and being a scumbag. What I think is going to happen is Dean is going to go to do something really shitty to Seth at TLC, and Renee is going to get up to admonish him. And then she's going to end up pulling like the Brandy Rhodes thing. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna basically like help him, and then she's gonna be a heel commentator. Because I think that's the only way to save this whole experience with her. It's not working at all.
So like, do you she makes this heel turn. Like, do you keep her as a commentator, or do you have her like be like a valet to Dean?
No, have her be like the full-on heel commentator. Corey is always gonna be like a tweener for the most part, right? And then you have Michael Cole just doing whatever he's told until he retires. I mean, like, it would be kind of interesting to have her as the heel female, color commentator. You know what I mean? Like, and then like Dean comes out and she stands up and claps. Like, you know what I mean? And Dean will come out with the IC belt and be like, there's the champ. Like, make her, like, I could see this. And I think this is a really good idea, because I think that's I don't know any other explanation for why she's so bad. You know what I mean? When she was doing Talking Smack, she was very organic. People liked her. And now she's just this shitty, I don't know. I don't know what my husband's doing. I didn't talk to my husband. I haven't seen my husband in weeks. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean,
he's sleeping in the garage.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like two different universes. Talking Smack, I believe they were allowed to pretty much just go off the cuff, whereas, like, being a commentator on Raw and SmackDown, you literally have Vince yelling in your ear saying, say this, talk about the network, damn it. Like,
well, you could tell, though, she's basically just reading scripted lines now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, whereas before, she had some organic quality to her. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't hate that. I would probably applaud that. I would say good, because I think she's not doing a good job. I don't know that they would actually replace her, because that's like a PR nightmare. But I think if you end up turning her heel and saying that, she was standing by her husband all this time and blah, 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 blah. Or, what you could do? You could piece her out of the booth, throw like Beth Phoenix in there, because people seem to think she does a better job. And crazy, because she does. I mean, it's crazy. If you really want to get a chick in there. Or Alexa's probably got a permanent brain damage, so maybe she's got nothing going on. Have her be the heel commentator. After this GM thing falls apart, and then you just have Renee be a personality that comes out like Selena Vega, or Lana or something. Why can't? And she talks good. Her and Dean, she would talk good, like out of the concept of talking about color commentary, because she was great on Talking Smack. Can you imagine her and Dean just being like these dick heels, like just being dicks to everybody? Like, you know what I mean? Her being dicks to the other women, you know what I mean? And like,
yeah, I mean,
being like arrogant.
I can picture that. She can kind of do what Maria does, where she just comes out, introduces her husband, and says, here's my husband, the toughest man in the universe, blah blah blah, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and this is by the way, this is tried and true with these guys. So like, Maurice does a good job with that. Like, you could never make Maurice a face now. She's such a cunt. Like, you can tell she's a cunt in real life. So it's like, Zelina Vega, sure. You know what I mean? She's like 4'10" of her.
You think Maurice is a cunt?
Oh yeah, you can tell she's a total bitch.
Well, I mean, she has that. Well, I mean, she has that French thing. So. No,
I just think I just don't. There's something like not very likable about her as a person. I don't know. I didn't watch the show, but well,
no, she's actually very likable. I mean, on the show, she comes across as very likable. I don't think.
I don't know. She just seems like very phony and very like materialistic human being. I don't know.
Are you talking about?
That's fine. You could be that way.
It's like, are you talking about the Bellas?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she seems like that's her MO. She falls more in line like that. You know what I mean? I never saw that show, but
I didn't binge it. I just watched a few episodes. But yeah, she comes across as very likable.
That's what I heard. Mish was big on the show. He said the show was great. He said Miz was great. I'm not a big Miz guy. I go back and forth with him. I think Miz's future is behind the booth, like in the booth, like, or he has these very vanilla matches, and I mean, can you name 5 good Miz matches in the last 10 years? Try. I mean, maybe one of the Cena matches. I don't know. The mixed tag. you know what I mean? It's just like there's no, like, he's not like a blue chipper guy match. All his matches are very much the same. He's very safe, very vanilla, very limited, but it works for him. They somehow respond to that. He's never been fired. He's never been pulled off TV for being a dick or anything like that. That's a guy who knew what he was doing when he got the spot and knew exactly what he needed to do to keep it. And he's the longest running guy there now, ironically. That isn't, fucking a McMahon.
True. I mean, also because, the Miz, it's like you said, he does what he's told. If they tell him, hey, we need you to...
He shows up.
We need you to be here at 5:30 in the morning to open this Walmart. Yes, sir. We need you to put over this new guy that we want to push to the moon. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. We need you to go to a Cricket Wireless, in Tulsa. Okay. What time's my flight? And like, you never see him put his foot in his mouth online or anything like that. And, I think he's just, this is what he wanted to. And by the way, I remember that dude on The Real World. That was totally my wheelhouse. So like, I was still young enough that I was watching that show. And that dude was a very, weird, nerdy kind of guy who was like a wrestling guy. I mean, he's a lifelong wrestling fan. So, I mean, if you're a lifelong wrestling fan and you get a job as a wrestler, springboarded from being on a TV show, you're not going to fuck that up. And I think that's why because he's a real fan. I think, Kevin Owens, you could tell, was a real fan. Sami Zayn was a real fan. There are a lot of guys that this was not their plan, and this is just something that they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's nice to have guys like that that like the Hardys, that grew up with posters on their wall of people and, what they really, really wanted to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I like that about him for sure. But I think his future is, being Bobby Heenan, in 10 years. Being the Bobby Heenan of the mid-millennium. Just doing commentary he'll do 20 years of commentary. I guarantee you that, maybe more. He's got to be that. He's got to be, right? There's just no other job for him.
He's pretty much got a job for life, like you just said. I didn't even think about commentary, to be honest, until you brought it up.
Just picture Miz in his 50s being like a Bobby Heenan to God only knows, doing commentary at that point,
Let's kind of go back with the whole Dean Ambrose thing. Why do you think this Dean Ambrose feud with Seth has just kind of not been that... It hasn't been as good as we hoped it to be?
Because I think there's a lot of parts to it. I think people are actually still having a problem reacting to what happened with Roman because it was such a real thing, and it's uncomfortable for people. Like I think it was, they should not have timed it with the guy saying, "Hey, I have leukemia and I'm really sick and I have to leave the business." But they're going to do this angle now where these guys are going to fight and Dean's going to say he hates me, And people are like, no, that's kind of uncomfortable. Like you really have leukemia and like you're really sick. And like every week, Rollins is like, he turned on Roman. And I think people are just like, no, this is, we saw him crying when you left. I don't really think he turned on you. I think they humanized those guys with Roman. They should have had those guys just be tag champs and feud with heels for a good couple of months, because the Roman thing is still very fresh in people's mind. And I think people weren't really prepared to boo a guy they just saw legit cry, hug his friend who's suffering from cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, when they both walked out and like Rollins is like eating his lips, trying not to sob, and Dean is like, they're like shaking, like saying goodbye to Roman on camera. And then like 2 hours later, like an hour and a half later, you're supposed to boo the guy for turning heel. And people are like, nah, it's not working for me. It's real.
I also think with Dean, I don't even know where they're trying to go with his heel character, because one week he's sitting on a car next to a burning trash can and burning his shield vest. The week after, he's like complaining about people's hygiene, which I don't get where that.
That was really sad last night.
I'm sorry. Like the first thing I think of when he says, "What's that smell?" I think of Hulk Hogan and No Holds Barred. What's that smell? And then he goes to the doctor to get a tetanus shot, which I'm just like,
it's lame, dude.
Like, you're supposed to be this kick-ass cool heel, but you're basically Plankton from SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's amateur hour stuff. I mean, this is very much like low budget, like regional promotion, infomercial 3 a.m. angle 1982 shit. Like everything is so forced. I struggle because I don't know if it's because these people are just so not as creative as we would like them to be, but also is it that they have so many people that they're paying to write that they need those people's shit to be on the air. Like, for example, like when people say like Saturday Night Live now is terrible and they have all these writers, the majority of people that write for Saturday Night Live are the actual people performing. And it's always been that way. So it's not, yes, there's writers, but there are, you get on the air for writing something funny for yourself to perform it on the air. And I don't think wrestling's like that. I think they have a bunch of people that they hired that are using TV formats that were probably not wrestling fans. And that they're like, hey, it'd be really funny if you peed on the guy's robe, and we don't show your dick, but you'll have a squeeze bottle and it'll look like you're peeing. And then he's so freaked out that he gets pinned. And like somebody like, one of the boys should be in the back going, that's some fucking Bush League shit. I don't want to do that shit.
So I like to think it was you that may have said this, or it might have been someone else, that you have all these writers that are from like, one's from Breaking Bad, the other's from a big blockbuster Hollywood movie. I like to think it was you that might have suggested this, that you said, bring in like a 20-something, 30-something, comic book graphic novel writer.
Yeah, graphic novels. Yeah, no, I think I did say that because that was, bring in like one of these like very, this guy just got signed to DC and he's doing Batman and he made Batman a junkie and people are really mad, like Tom King or something. Like one of these guys. Bring in, like, I don't understand, and maybe it's just I don't know why these streams don't cross, because I've been in these worlds for fucking decades and they cross in my lifetime. But why I've never heard, and I want to run this by Mish too. I have never heard of somebody from the comic industry who wrote comics writing for WWE. I've heard of comedians, I've heard of drama people, I've heard of people from comedy shows, I've heard of people from this, but I've never heard of a guy from Image Comics or a guy from a guy who created blah 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 for Marvel in the late 90s is now writing for WWE. I mean, like fucking Bob Mould from fucking Husker Du wrote for WCW for fucking a couple of months. I mean, Billy Corgan wrote wrestling.
Because you would think comic books and wrestling would go hand in hand, right?
Well, yeah, like but it depends. I mean, there's certain comic book people that people like, oh, I'm over that guy's shit. But like, there's so many of these good younger guys that I'm not as familiar with as I should be, because I'm a little bit of a comic snob. But my brother Mike will be like, hey, you should see who's writing blah 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 now. Guy's fucking amazing. This guy's gonna be big. And then I'll check it out. I'll be like, yeah, this is fucking really different. I like what they're doing with this. You know what I mean? Like the guy, is it Tom King? Tom King, the guy who wrote that Vision story that was like in Time magazine, and then DC gave him Batman, and people like he had to walk around with a fucking bodyguard for making a Batman marry Catwoman at Comic-Con, like in San Diego last year, because people were sending them threats that they were going to punch him in the face. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good reaction, but I'm saying, like, these are guys that have done creative things, in comics and or not just like graphic novels, because I'm talking about not just your blue chip comic book properties. I'm talking about guys that write indie graphic novels that maybe most people never heard of, but if they picked up, they'd be like, this guy's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't they getting people from that world, into their medium? These people write episodic things. Comics are episodic. They are meant to continue like a soap opera. Well, instead of getting soap opera writers, maybe get a guy who worked on, one of the X-Men runs in 2007 when they did something really edgy or weird. That's all. I mean, I would love to see that. I don't know why. I don't know how these worlds haven't crossed. Can't tell you. It's very strange.
Do you think that the company, I guess, looks down on comics, or they just think of like, oh, that's comics?
No. I don't think they look. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think they look down on anybody. I don't. I think they look down on competing businesses. Like, not necessarily look down, but they're like, when they didn't say TNA for 15 years. They weren't allowed to say it. I don't think they look down on the medium. I think I don't know where that divide is. I think it might be generationally, because Vince McMahon is a 70-something-year-old guy who's probably being like, I don't want a Spider-Man guy writing for Roman Reigns. I don't want a Spider-Man guy writing for Hunter. Because in his mind, that's probably easy reader Spider-Man, electric company shit. It's not like this esoteric, Spider-Verse, Spider Island, One More Day shit. Like, he doesn't know that shit fucking exists. So I think that might have something to do with it. I would think he would look at the success of Marvel and Netflix TV shows and go, who's writing for Luke Cage? Who's that? Look at that guy.
How much money? How much money are they willing to bet that he probably thinks Thanos is an up and comer from the Indies?
I'll tell you, the Thanos is huge. He's the guy, like Lawrence Sullivan. We got him fight Lawrence Sullivan.
Sign him, Paul. Paul, sign the Thanos.
I think Vince doesn't know that comics are not like some nerd culture thing anymore. That it's, I forget who it was. I think it was Jason who said Stan Lee's properties in movies and television have made $24 billion this century, right? So, that's what. I mean, dude. I mean, clearly it's Vince, right? I mean, the PP stuff and all. This is all Vince. This is Vince. This is the end of. When Vince dies, I think things will get way better, but it's going to be a slow burn. It's not going to happen like that following Monday. Yeah. Like where they wheel his casket out and they burn it and they go, now we can fucking do cool shit, But it's Vince. I mean, it's the end of that era. You know what I mean? It's the end of his control. And don't forget, when the XFL starts in another year, I think, or 2020, he will not have any time for this shit anymore, because he had to make the commitment that he would run that exclusively. So this is him, I think, getting all of his jollies out and all of his PP fantasies and weird stuff and, duty jokes and fart jokes and whatever. And then he'll make bad football, and then he'll drop dead. And then they'll pretend that they're going to carry on his legacy. And then 3 months later, it's going to be a completely different place to be.
So are you on the mindset that you think Triple H might do a better job at running the company?
I don't know. I mean, if he really is that responsible for NXT, it's kind of hard to not recognize how good it is. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many reasons why it's better, but ultimately, it's, I run an office, right? Yeah. And the person I report to, I run an office for, it works 20 miles away. It comes to my office about once a month. And their whole attitude is yeah, you run it the way you want to run it. As long as we're making money, who cares? And that's kind of in a roundabout way, right? Yeah. Aside from don't come to work in board shorts and fucking blasting, Van Halen, you know what I mean? But I run a business office, and it's just yeah, you run it as you see fit, because I give you that power. And that made me work differently, because I knew ultimately whatever happens here is my responsibility. Vince is basically the guy who says, you guys can run this, you guys can run that, but he's still in the back going, I don't really know about that. I don't really like that. I don't like that. I don't want to do. He's not really he can't relinquish full power. He doesn't know how to do that. It's not a matter of him not trusting or respecting Triple H or his children or whatever. It's the fact that it's still his company. He didn't relinquish his power. And age has not stopped his control. This motherfucker is still in a headset telling motherfuckers what to say on television.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is crazy. Like, he doesn't need to be doing this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would be the equivalent of Jeff Bezos, like, overseeing people in the support center when they call, complain about an Amazon product, and then calling the clerk back and be like, you really should have called him sir or madam. You weren't as, you should have been more, and be like, aren't you the owner of this? Why the fuck are you telling me this? Like, you have other shit to do? But for Vince, it's control. I think it will get better, though. I do. I don't know if it's going to be Triple H as the solution. I worry that it's just going to be a big power fuck. It's going to be a 55-year-old Triple H being like, I got the belt. I don't need to see that anymore.
I'm cool.
I'm champ again. Who would have thunk it? Because I always thought he was a perfect medium talent at best. I never got what was big about that dude. I never was a fan. Never.
You weren't ready, John.
I was never a fan. I don't think my brother was either. He was a little bit more receptive, I think, to him with the DX stuff. I liked DX, but I didn't like Triple H in DX. Like, I like everybody else.
I know when I started watching, because I remember I have a close friend of mine. He used to be big into wrestling. He was more like big into wrestling because like him and his brother was also a close friend of mine, and their grandma would watch wrestling together. They would order the pay-per-views back in the day when you had to pay like $50 for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, $40. It was like $39. I remember those days. It sucked.
Yeah. So like
that cable bill sucked.
The cable bill? Oh yeah. So like
it would come on the bill. You'd be like, why is this $4 more? Like, oh, the pay-per-view.
Like I obviously didn't have money to order, and my dad was like, he hates wrestling. He's like, you don't need to watch that shit. And so I would just like literally watch the scrabbled like cable version. I'm just like, who's that? Like, is that supposed to be The Rock or D'Lo Brown? Anyways, like him and his brother are friends of mine. They would watch the pay-per-views with their grandma. And after their grandma passed away, they started to kind of like not like wrestling as much because it wasn't as fun. Because watching it with their grandma made it fun. So he made it.
But you think that might remind them of her and want to watch it, though, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you think they'd be like, well, I want to keep watching this because grandma likes it?
I mean, I guess it's more like, she's not here, so we can't, have as much fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
everybody's different.
But like, anyways, the point I'm getting to is like, he was talking to me about Triple H. We were like randomly talking about wrestling, and Triple H came up. He said, Triple H was more of a guy that I would rather see him chase a title than to be a champion or to be the top dog. Because, like, the first time I saw him, I'm like, okay, good physique, okay talent. But then, out of nowhere, he becomes, I'm going to dye my hair, and I'm going to carry a sledgehammer or wear jean jackets. And, now he's, like, in my face and, at the beginning of the show, middle, end, after the show.
Yeah, too much.
Before the show.
He was overexposed. I mean,
yeah.
I honestly don't think if he hadn't, if he hadn't stopped blowing loads in McMahon, I don't know that he would have had the career he had. I think he would have been, very much a mid-card type talent. I don't recognize his career as anything special. I just don't. I just think it's very overblown. He's a very fortunate person. Like, his luck is better than his talent.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, I'll be honest. I think I'm one of the very few that's, like, I don't hate Triple H as much as most people do. But, again, I'm not his biggest fan. With him, for me, it's kind of like 50-50. Like, yeah. I'll give him some credit, but then I got to take some of that credit away. But for the most part, when I think of, like, the greats, I don't ever put him alongside, Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, not even Shawn Michaels.
God, no. Yeah, I don't know that he's, top 25. of WWE, forever. Even if you go back to even in the Attitude Era, I mean, there was so many much better guys, but they needed him to fight. So I get that element of it. He was like a foil for, I think, the people really drawing the money. He was the guy to get beat up by the guys that you really wanted to see.
Yeah.
Like Rock, like Stone Cold, like Kurt Angle, like Mankind, like, like Undertaker, like he had to be on the receiving end of those people. So in that regard, yeah, sure. I would still rather be the 15th best guy in the Attitude Era than the third best guy in 2018. I mean, that's for goddamn sure. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, we still all remember those people. And DX was a big fucking deal. DX was a huge fucking deal. You know what I mean? But he was very fortunate, like when Shawn got hurt, that he had those other guys to reform that and make that a little bit younger and a little bit more dirty and a little bit more edgy. And he was given a green light. And around that time, he started dropping fucking loads and stuff. And so he sort of secured his future that way. I mean, if Sean Waltman was fucking Stephanie McMahon, you'd be talking about the legacy of the 1, 2, 3 kid and the 17 fucking title reigns. Don't get that shit twisted. You know what I mean? Like Brockus was banging Stephanie. Brockus would have had things. You can't separate those two things because they're completely synonymous. Like, I don't know, had Triple H just married some fan or married his high school girlfriend, what would he have? Maybe 3 title reigns? Maybe, I don't know. They would have pieced him out at some point.
You said Brockus
in Japan.
Was Brockus the guy that tore his ACL in his first match?
Yeah, I think. No, I don't know. He was a Canadian dude. I know he was from that, and he was like, they built him up, and then he never did anything. So I don't. They just had promos on him, and I don't even remember him airing.
Because I know Jim Cornette talked about some dude that they were trying to build up.
Brockus might be that guy. I don't know.
And I think he did like a backflip off the top rope, and then he tore his ACL.
That doesn't sound like Brockus. He was a little too top heavy for that. If he did that, that's amazing because he was a big steroid fucking guy.
Or I might be getting the wrong guy. I don't know, but
what's that?
I said I'm sorry. I mean, I'm probably getting the wrong guy, but that name sounds very familiar.
I don't know who you are. I honestly don't know. I just know that name was really funny because they used to show these promos, and then he never came on. And I'm like, what the fuck? For like weeks. I was like, Brockus. And I'm like, when is this guy debuting? And he never debuted. So I always found that funny. It's almost like a wrestle crap thing, where it's like.
It's like even Kazarni had a match.
Kazarni had a match. Dude, the fucking Gobbledygooker had matches. I mean, Repo Man had a run. You know what I mean? People can make fun of shit all they want to, but so all these things had some kind of life to them. You know what I mean? I hated what the fuck is his name? The fake Italian dude. With the
Nunzio?
No. There's so many fake Italians, but the one that Jim Cornette slapped.
Oh, Santino Marella?
Yeah. Oh god, that irritates me. But the midget stuff and all the other. I just saw fucking Hornswoggle's fighting Nick Gage or something, and I'm like, yeah, dude, really, yeah. Hornswoggle's fighting Nick Gage.
Hornswoggle was actually on that the Edge and Christian show, the season 2 one.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't like Edge. Edge rubs me the wrong way. I'm not a big Edge guy. I like Christian more than.
Well, okay. What about Edge? Don't you like? What's it about him that just kind of?
He was a medium talent. I was at his debut when he wrestled as Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
He wrestled versus in a dark match in Nassau Coliseum. Yes, Kevin. I think he wrestled versus Gangrel. They were pushing Gangrel, and Edge came out as Adam Copeland, which is, I guess, his real name. And then they gave him a whole big push after that. I just never thought he was that good. He was okay. He was the only option. There are certain people for the end of the Ruthless Aggression or whatever. There was just nobody else. He's a representation of that. You got something because there was nobody else. That's all. There was nobody else. You were kind of tall, and he hit on my wife, but that I don't really care about that. That doesn't really bother me. But it was funny at the time. It's funny now, but it was funny then. He hit on my wife at Disney World. But whatchamacallit? When he was tag champs with Benoit, they were doing something at Disney World, and I happened to be there with my wife. and Edge she was getting an autograph from my brother Kevin, and he was being like really inappropriate with my wife. So I was like, oh, that's nice. And then Benoit, well, the less said about that, the better. But
was that story? Was that story you told about Benoit, where like you saw him at Disney World and he was like kind of giving some guy the evil eye or whatever?
Yeah, a guy came up behind him and put his arm around him, and Benoit gave him a look like he was going to fucking just kill him right there on the fucking Main Street, and it was scary to watch. But to Benoit's credit, I know this is a little fucked up. This is very, 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 very long time ago. To Benoit's credit, that guy had no business coming over and putting his hand on him like that. That reminds me of a story that Paul London told about Chris Benoit. They were at a Hooters after one of the shows. They were at a Hooters,
and it was Chris Benoit, it was Paul London, I think, and I believe Jamie Noble. And Paul London was telling the story about Chris. I think Chris told Paul, "Hey, go hit on that waitress or whatever." Or actually, no, that's not how the story went. They're all eating, and like there was this table that was next to him that was being real loud and obnoxious, and I think they're kind of giving the waitress a hard time. So Chris was like, those guys are pissing me off. Paul, go tell them something. So Paul, Paul's just, you see Paul London, he's not exactly the most intimidating guy.
No.
I think he even won over like, oh crap, why do I gotta go over there? So he was just kind of like, awkwardly like, hey guys, can you kind of keep the noise down? And he went back to his table, and one of the dudes, I guess, was like either drunk or just really obnoxious. He's like, hey, who do you guys think you are? He looks over at Chris and he goes, oh, it's Chris Benoit. How you doing, Chris? And Chris just looks over at him and goes, get your fucking hand off me. Yeah,
it was very similar to what I saw. This is 2003. This was a very, very, very long time ago. He was scary. You take the murder of his wife and child away. The guy was, pretty significant wrestler. He was a top guy. He was considered one of the better workers globally in the world. He was probably the top 10, in the world at that point, at the high points of his career. And he was tough as nails. He was very believable. That was a guy that you believed would hurt you, regardless of how small he was.
Yeah.
It did not intimidate. Like he was a scary man. Like, he was built very odd. He was built almost like a full-grown midget type person with fucking big scary arms and the fucking trap. Remember the traps in his neck, and never looked happy, never looked comfortable, never looked okay. He had fucked up teeth, and you know what I mean? And he had sick moveset, and apparently he probably had fucking concussion syndrome, and that's why he killed his family.
Yeah, just... what's weird? I was actually thinking about the whole Benoit thing the other day, because I was kind of comparing his death to Eddie's. When Eddie died, I remember just being like, it was like, heartbreaking, because he was one of my favorite guys, and I think it was more heartbreaking just thinking about what he went through to, get back to being... Yeah,
to come back from the accident, sure.
Yeah, and then, when Chris died, I remember being sad, but I wasn't, like, bawling. I was more just like, oh, shit. Like, it was sad.
Well, if you remember initially, we all thought they were murdered together.
Yeah.
They were treated as if they were all murdered by people. So I think everybody forgets their immediate reaction was like, somebody killed Chris Benoit and his family. I'm beside myself. And then it was,
I think I remember, and I don't think you can catch this online, but during the Benoit tribute show, there was like a bit where I believe Michael Cole and JBL were, discussing Benoit. And then Michael Cole goes, all right, let's show another match with Benoit, A, B, C, and D. And literally right before they cut to the match, you see JBL turn around and goes, do you think he had something to do with it?
Wow. That would be sick to watch.
Yeah, wow. It's just literally him going, do you think he has something to do with it? Fade to the match.
Yeah, I remember just my brother, I think, calling me and being like, did you hear about Chris Benoit? Something like that. And then he was like, it's on CNN. And it was on fucking CNN. And I was just like, holy shit. And my buddy Randy, he was a very fit, scary-looking guy himself. That was his idol. Like, he was a very casual wrestling fan, but that was his guy because he was short in stature, like Benoit, and he was very top-heavy and big, muscular, and like that was his guy. Like, he was, to him, that was that was like his. I don't want to say role model, but that was like a role model to him because here's a guy who's very small. I'm very small, but I'm very big, and hey, this guy's killing it, and he happens to be really good at his job. But, a lot of people feel like that was kind of the end of everything. I mean, like the end of it kind of being acceptable in popular culture for a lot of people. And I think they're right. I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of changes. My brother is always very quick to point out, like, people think it sucks now, but they don't remember. And I'm like, yeah, but, Lex Luger versus blah, 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 blah was the lowest rated. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a fucking like 25 years ago. Like, this is before people had the internet and shit. Like, it was different. Like, even when it was bad, like pre-Attitude Era bad, like Lex Express, Yokozuna, the Giant Gonzalez in a Sasquatch costume bad, right? The difference then was you still only had about like 9 fucking channels if you didn't have cable. And most people didn't have cable. And there was no internet. And there wasn't these distractions to sort of take you out of watching it. If it was a ritual thing that you did, you watched it. Everybody grew up in a house that had some semblance of sports on for the most part, and I grew up in a house like that too. So even when the Mets were the worst team ever, my fucking dad sat there and watched that shit all day. Like, he watched it. He knew it was bad, but he watched it. So I think, as the difference now is, unlike, say, Gobbledygooker versus Sid Justice main event or something, you have 50 other fucking things you can do.
Yeah.
Not only that, you like wrestling? Shit, you can jump online and YouTube like 5 zillion other wrestling things if you wanted to.
And you know what? When I had Miss Sean, that's actually a conversation we had, because I brought up how, like, there's like 8 million other wrestling companies out there besides WWE. and I feel bad for not watching them, but it's just like I don't have a lot of time. It's because I could go to sleep and wake up the next day and there's like 5 other promotions out there.
It does seem. Do you watch MLW at all?
I don't, unfortunately.
MLW is the one thing I think I'm going to go out of my way to really commit to, because they have a lot of good young people there. Pillman Jr.'s there. And I think that's Court Bauer's federation that he runs.
Yeah.
I don't really have issues with Court Bauer. I know some people do. I don't really know a lot about that, but my brother Kevin is getting very big on MLW, and he's been trying to get me to commit to watching it, like, online, because I don't have their channel. Their channel used to be on Fios, and I don't think it's on there anymore. Shit for me. I'm like dying here. I'm losing my voice. But
you all right, man?
Well, I would like to watch MLW because I see a lot of good young people there that I like, and they have some good chicks down there that seem to do a good job. But that's the thing now. What people got to understand is even go back to when Benoit had the belt, and my brother's like, "Oh, we saw Benoit. There was 6,000 people at the Garden. Benoit versus somebody." Yeah, but even back then, you didn't have the internet. You didn't have NJPW matches that you could stream on your phone. You didn't have a network called WWE that you could, if you don't like watching Raw, you could shut that fucking shit off and watch any WrestleMania or any fucking major card you wanted to. Like, their big competition isn't so much other companies, it's themselves. It's the better version of themselves. And that's why I'm always like, I hate when they show these montages of better days, because I'm like, well, shit, now I want to shut this off and go put on old Attitude Era fucking shows.
It just came out the other day that War Games had more views than Survivor Series.
I saw that today. Interesting, huh? And Survivor Series was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Survivor Series wasn't terrible, but it
didn't suck.
Did you want to get into War Games, or did you want to save that for Soup?
Well, we were supposed to do something on War Games. I mean, now it almost seems like I kind of forgot about it in the last couple of weeks. Well, so much shit's happened. You know what I mean? Like, there's been some pretty interesting things that have happened between now and then, like the Becky situation and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I will say this, because I will probably be at NXT again when they come back here for 5 years in a row. NXT has a very interesting way of ebbing and flowing. There was a period with NXT, I think Bobby Roode and some other stuff, where I was like, oh, NXT's in trouble. Yeah. And then it comes right back. You know what I mean? With like some dynamic people. And like, EC3 and Velveteen Dream. And so it's like NXT seems to have a way of getting you excited about people that you might not otherwise have been excited about. And I think they do that organically. They put them in small shows with small crowds where you hear every reaction, and these guys really have to get down. They really, really have to fucking show up, because they're not going to have a 20-minute interview segment with Baron Corbin in the ring. They gotta fight, and and it's very stiff competition because they're constantly bringing people in from all over the world. I've never really seen a bad NXT show. I've seen shows that weren't as good as other shows, but they've never really been bad. And having to commentate now on every pay-per-view, every Raw or SmackDown pay-per-view for the last bunch of years, I would say it's like maybe 30% good shit to 70%. Like, you know what I mean? And whereas NXT, I would say it's 75, 80 good, 20% not that good. But I loved War Games. I thought it was fun. I thought the War Games match was amazing. I don't know how I feel about what the decisions they're making with some of the women's stuff. I think I think it's time to move some of those broads out of there.
Yeah.
But, I don't think anybody's leaving anytime soon. I don't understand what they're doing with Nikki Cross. I would like to see Nikki Cross in the main roster. I don't know that we will. They seem to kind of need her down there for some reason. Don't know why. There's a lot of good young people there, but don't forget now they have the NXT UK show, so that's going to pull a lot of those people away now. A lot of the Nikki Storms and all this other, these other European women and some of these other guys, you'll see them in the UK show. I don't know that we needed an NXT UK show, but
is the UK show pretty good? Because I've heard really good things.
I've heard it's great. I have not watched a single episode.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch the women's tournament though. I like all those broads, so I'm gonna fucking check that out.
Yeah, going back to Takeover, what was your match of the night?
I mean, they were all really good. The Dream match was fucking dope as shit. I mean, the Ciampa Dream was ridiculous. I mean, every time I see Patrick, man, I'm just like, I even shake my head when I watch him. Like they can't mess this guy up. This guy's got to be something. He's got to be something. He's got to be something. Like Gargano is too small. Ciampa is too small. Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, and I do think EC3, if you handle him the right way, he could be like a nuanced, more Miz character. Absolutely. As Miz is getting a little older, EC3 is a little younger. He's in way better shape than the Miz.
Yeah.
And he's got a little bit of a stiff moveset there. I think those guys in particular will be something. I really, really do. I think when you see those guys, you see something. Ricochet, I love Ricochet. I love watching Ricochet. He is a tiny man. These guys are all going to be 205 bound. I don't care what. And Johnny Gargano is not the next Daniel Bryan. He's not. He's just not. He doesn't have that. He's great. I love him. He's a fucking awesome guy. But
my girlfriend,
why can't he just be the best guy in 205 Live? Why is that bad?
My girlfriend hates Ricochet. I don't even know why, because she's not as much as a wrestling fan as me. She was like she liked it when she was younger, and then she fell off, and then when we started dating, I would watch it more, and she was just there, and then she started getting into it, and then I got her into NXT because I remember I'll just make it short and sweet. When NXT first came here, it was in the summer of 2015. And I just said, hey, if I buy tickets to NXT, you want to go? And she's like, I don't even know what that is, but yeah, sure. So I took her, and then she saw Finn, and it was kind of over from there.
Yeah, it was a deep roster then.
Yeah.
That was Finn, KO, what's his face? Prince Pretty there was doing pretty good too. It's a shame now what they've done with him.
Tyler Breeze?
Yeah, he was big on the card then. Enzo and Cass. Bailey, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte. I mean, that was a deep fucking tour. Well, I saw Sasha, Charlotte go a half hour at the Armory up here, and there was the co-main event, and people were standing for the last 10 minutes of the match. It was fucking incredible. I mean, it was an incredible thing to see. I saw Alexa Bailey the year after with my daughter, who was I think 10, and Bailey was like such a rock star to her, and it was just there was a power there. But also, I think it works in small environments. I think it's humbling to have that, have them in front of 700-800 people weekly, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a year have this big arena show. And then when they tour, this from being there, it's only 1,000 people, if it's even that. It could be 200 people, it could be 400 people. But I guarantee you, they turned up that fucking place. You know what I mean? They showed the fuck up.
Yeah, where we were at, I think that was when Sasha was already called up to the main roster. Because I remember the main event was Finn versus Tyler Breeze, and she fell.
The main event on that tour.
Yeah, she fell in love with Finn. She one of the matches was Alexa Bliss versus Carmella, and automatically she hated Carmella when she first saw her.
Right.
She saw what's her name. She fell in love with Cass when she saw him. She likes tall guys. I'm not that tall, but she likes tall guys.
Tall guy.
So we try to make an effort to go to any NXT show that comes here.
As do I. Yeah, I do. I sat second row last year, and it was really great. Velveteen Dream fought Gargano in the main event, and it was fucking great. And it was a fun thing to watch. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch. And I'll go again probably when they come back here. They haven't announced it yet, but it's always in the winter, which is terrible to be in upstate New York, but they just come through the Northeast in the winter. I don't really know why. But I'm on the verge of losing my voice for some reason. I don't know if I'm just getting a really bad cold. So if there's anything you want to fucking chew on for a little bit before I have to head out.
Are you sick, man?
I didn't even realize I was until I got on the air.
Yikes.
But we're getting some pretty crappy weather up here, so.
Yeah, it's like, the San Antonio weather. It's weird in San Antonio. Like,
San Antonio.
It's fucking bouldering hot in the summer, and then when fall happens, it's like they forgot to let San Antonio know, hey, get a little breezy in the fall. Like, no, we're gonna make it warm.
Yeah, I spent time in Dallas and Austin. I've never been to San Antonio. I love Texas. If I had made a different life plan, I probably would be living in Austin right now.
You know what?
I was just a little too old when I finally got there. My ex was from there, and I went there with her, and she was like, "You're gonna love this town." And I was already I think I was 41 at the time, and I was just like, "Yeah, it's fucking pretty cool if you're like 27. It's fucking great." It's fucking awesome if you're under 30 and you don't have a lot of things going on, but I'm 41 and I don't really want to be around everybody this young. And then but she was from there, so she had lived there for a long time. But I like Dallas. Dallas was cool. We had family, I think, in Houston for a long time. Was I in Houston? I might have been in Houston. Shit, I think I was in Houston. I was in Houston, Dallas, and Austin.
Yeah.
So I like Texas. I mean, I would have liked like I said, if I made a different life plan, Austin was definitely on the list of places to live. But at this age of my life, I think I'd be miserable there.
You know, Kevin told me the same thing when I had him on the show. He said what you just said. He's a big fan of Texas. He said something that was kind of random. Like he said, one of the reasons why I agreed to be on the show is because you're a Texas boy. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, he likes Texas he's a Von Erich. My brother Kevin, I think if he could wave a magic wand, he would be born in the Von Erich family there. He's a serious Von. It's funny. I have a friend of mine who's a very serious Von Erich guy. He just holds the Von Erichs in this very, very high regard. And I think people like my brother, when they associate it with their childhood and seeing the Von Erichs on TV and seeing them fight the Freebirds and knowing they were really related. And wow, I got a whole bunch of brothers too, like these guys do. Now, fortunately for Kevin, all of us didn't turn out like the Von Erich family, or the Adelsons, or whatever the hell they are. But Atkinsons, is it their real name? But for us, Texas was Von Erich country. I mean, that was, and forever, forever, ever, 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 Texas is going to be a Von Erich country for us. And I don't even know that Kevin's been to Texas. He might have. I doubt it, but I was. My brother Mark has definitely toured through there quite a bit. Maybe my brother Mike too. But it's Von Erich country, man. How the fuck do you not like Von Erich country?
Yeah. Before I move to the next topic, I'll just say about Takeover. Ciampa and Dream, I think it was the match of the night. I think it had better storytelling. It had false finish after false finish after false finish. I honestly thought Dream was going to win that belt.
Yeah, it was fun.
Ciampa wins, which I wasn't disappointed about. I was more disappointed in his generic nu metal entrance music that they gave him, but that's neither here nor there.
They should have just left that alone. Don't you think they could have just left that alone?
Yeah, I mean, I actually liked that when he had no music. It was like that old school, wrestling thing.
Fun. I like that. I like it. It's just very ballsy. It's very it's very against the grain, and they were trying to get him over that way. He's great. I'm people. the funny thing is, like, when I say all these guys are 205 pound, all these guys are 205 pound, yeah, so what? Make it fucking awesome. Make it be like this must-watch show. Make it be like NXT Light or NXT 2. You're telling me if you move Ciampa, Gargano, maybe some of these other twinks over there, and drop them all in drop them in 205 Live. How many more people you think are going to watch the Undisputed Era and Ciampa and Gargano with the current and a 205? No one's missing that.
That's
Everyone's
like must-watch TV. That's much.
No one is missing that. You tell me that the fucking Undisputed Era comes out and lays out the entire roster and 205 Live. Everyone who didn't watch it is going to fucking click on the network and going to watch it. Yeah, make it something really special. There's talented people there. I don't hate the guys down there. I don't hate the smaller guys. It's not. I just don't want to see you trying to sell a storyline where Johnny Gargano is going to fight Lars Sullivan, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I totally buy that. That's totally fine.
That's
Daniel Bryan is an anomaly. You can't make that the norm. It's an exception.
That's actually what I told Kevin a while back, as I was talking about, the possibility of bringing in, the Bullet Club guys like the Young Bucks. Whereas, I just made a simple suggestion. I'm one of those guys that's like, if you keep telling me something's amazing and it's great, by the time I watch it, when I do, my reaction is just going to be like, okay, is this what was going to blow my mind? And I like. It's
hard to live up to that, though. It is hard to live up to that, isn't it?
It was kind of like All In, where your best friend Cody kept
very close.
Yeah, I heard you guys are like really tight.
Super tight.
Like, you guys, did you get each other friendship bracelets? I heard that's a rumor.
No, just a lot of internet traction.
But yeah, it's like when Cody kept, and we'll get into the Cody stuff, in a little bit. But when Cody kept hyping up All In, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. But what are their matches? But it's going to be awesome. It's better than WWE.
That was my mantra. It's just sorry, I'm like fading here, but I think it's, you have to deliver. And NXT delivers. Raw and SmackDown aren't delivering.
Yeah.
New Japan tends to deliver. Ring of Honor tends to deliver. Impact doesn't deliver, but it's not as terrible as it used to be, so we're giving it a pass. Lucha Underground tends to deliver. Just deliver something. Deliver something unique that I don't waste my time, but so I don't go on my phone and forget that I even was watching this in the first place.
Yeah, but
That's what it comes down to.
I was going to say, you bring in the Young Bucks, the main roster. You put them in the ring with, Cesaro and Sheamus, and Cesaro and Sheamus are pretty big dudes.
Yeah, they're massive big guys.
And the Young Bucks are they look like they're 21-year-old college kids.
5'10", maybe 5'10".
So let's say, I just got my best friend into wrestling and I show him this match. He's like, those guys are awfully tiny, aren't they? Yeah, but they're really good. They had great matches in Japan. Okay. I've never seen Japan.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's a Kevin thing too. Saying somebody had great matches in Japan isn't really, it's a totally different audience. It's a kayfabe audience for the most part, right? So it's just everybody politely claps even if it sucks. Nobody boos. I've been watching Japanese wrestling going back to New Japan, All Japan, FMW. People tend to not boo bad matches. They don't. It's just considered a faux pas. So even if a match is bland as fuck, there's still the because that's just polite, right? It's just good manners. It's the way kind of we used to be.
Whereas in America, it's either CM Punk or boring.
Yeah. Well, the CM Punk chants, I think, are done. I think people are kind of done with that. They'll move on to some. Right now, the big chant is we want our money back and bullshit. Those are the big chants.
You know what? The Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that was here, I was there, and I witnessed that.
What happened last night?
Yeah, what happened last night?
Yeah, Minnesota, Minneapolis. Where were they? They were in Milwaukee. Right? They were in Milwaukee last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try to wrap this up because I am just fading on a cold here that I didn't know I had until I got on the air.
All right, man. Anyways.
Was there anything you want to touch on before we jump off?
I guess, I mean, the Cody stuff is already kind of like a dead issue. Well,
I'll say this about the Cody stuff. to me, the worst thing that happens with the Cody stuff is that people, I think, don't understand the true nature of what happened behind that, and the fact that we don't tweet at Cody, we don't pick fights with Cody. If we say things about Cody in the context of the show, and somebody else tweets that at him, that's not the same thing as us doing it. We talk about lots of things on the show. Just like if it's Paige, just like if it's Renee, just like if it's fucking Grand Metalik, it doesn't fucking matter. Cody is a very insecure person who is not used to people being very upfront with him about things that they don't like because he's getting all this admonishment. Like, he's not ever being admonished by anybody. So I think what me and Mish were talking about was Cody, I think, just cannot accept the fact that he didn't win us over. So he, just heaps these lies that we did all these things that we didn't actually do. And then there's all these people just be like, yeah, these guys are fucking pieces of shit. Just like Ryan Satin did this, just like other people try to do this. And it's just like, it's funny because this year has been such a very drama kind of year for the show.
Yeah.
But it's also been like a very big year for growth for the show and a very big year for new viewers. And, I don't want people to tune in just because, hey, they're going to make fun of, so-and-so. And then we're going to tweet at them. Because that's goofy. Nobody gives a shit about that shit. Yeah. I think we say nuanced things. I think our criticism of Cody is very legitimate at a time where other people are afraid to do that. And if it costs us something, okay, we're fine with that. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, we're not trying to get people on the show. We're not trying to get writing jobs. We're not trying to get comps at, at fucking shows. We're just trying to have a good show by being honest and saying funny things so that people will continue to watch the show even when the product sucks. And, as far as Cody goes, I think the best thing in the world could be if Cody just stopped talking to us and we just stopped talking to Cody, because it's a very unfair fight because he's so a much bigger presence than we are, but also because the truth is he's immune, he's impervious to the truth. I mean, it's just, he's completely backpedaled on the All In stuff. He's completely backpedaled on a lot of the stuff he said. He refused to acknowledge that he made a mistake when he attacked us for something that was something else. But rather than just pick, total misunderstanding, whatever, you guys, I don't care about it. He should be above the fray, and he's not. And that's because he's a very insecure guy. But, Mish loved his work. I remember, there were fans of his work. But Mish was a big fan of his work. I just hope that's not the show's identity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be our identity. Like the way it was, like a little bit with the Stevie Ray thing, and then some of the other stuff with Satin. It looked like Satin was trying to paint us with that brush. Yeah. So I will say, like, in closing, like, we don't dislike Cody. We don't hate Cody. We're just not on Cody's dick, and that's a problem for Cody because he doesn't understand what that's about. You know what I mean? Like, how are you not recognizing my genius?
Shame on you for not bowing at the feet of Cody Christ.
I know, man. I'll work on it in 2019. I'll try to get on the ship.
Yeah.
I will try. If I survive this cold, I will try to get on the Cody ship. I promise you.
All right, man. John, I hope you get better, man.
All right, brother.
Hey, if you could have told me you were sick, we could have rescheduled.
I didn't know I was sick until I came downstairs and fucking logged on.
All right.
I was fine until I came in. This is like where I work out stuff, so I'm just like, I got to be back here at 6 a.m. I'm like, fuck.
Jeez.
Ugh. I got to be on the treadmill at like 5:45 or some shit. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to be down here.
Yeah, I need to get my fat ass on a treadmill pretty soon.
It saved my life. I was in bad shape, man. I was headed for disaster, and then it's just like, I don't know, something just woke me up.
I remember that story. You're on Nothing Forum. I mean, that's a very, not to sound like corny, that's a very inspiring story because.
Well, I would hope so because it's true, and there's no pretense behind it to be like, I'm not going to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness tomorrow, but I'm also probably not going to stroke out, or have a quadruple bypass like my dad, or have all these other health problems that I was definitely going to have. I mean, I'll just have to settle for tinnitus and periodontitis at this point. But I had everything you could think of. I mean, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, borderline obesity. It was definitely obesity. Jesus. I mean, like I was having like heart palpitations and like a lot of shaking. I think just because my whole, everything was so fucked up. I was smoking a lot. So it was just I have a very regimented schedule. Even when I'm sick, I still do what I need to do. It's about an hour and a half a day. Depends on the day, but then I move on with my day. It doesn't consume my life. I try to eat good, and then I get it done, and then I take a shower, and then I have a day, and then you know what I mean. I don't, it doesn't control. It does kind of control our lives a little bit. I've been a little neurotic about it, but this morning we had a lot of snow, and my 15-year-old, I opened the door and I had all my running clothes in my hand. It was 20 to 6 in the morning, and she was like, "You are not going outside," and I was like, "Oh shit." You know what? You're right. I'm not going outside. I got to go in the basement and run on the treadmill because I only have a couple weeks left to run outside. And I just like being outside. It's just more interesting, and it just makes the time go faster, and it's just more fun. Because I have a campus here. I run a whole college campus. And then the treadmill, I'm just basically listening to podcasts, dripping sweat,
yes.
For, my basement. And then I'm like, oh, what is this over? Oh, how many more minutes? But when I'm outside, it's engaging.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I actually was active, there was a time where
you'd rather be outside.
Because I think of the concept of I'm driving all the way to the gym so I can run inside the gym.
Oh yeah, that I could never do that.
Yeah,
I can't be a part of gym culture. That's the other thing. It's a solitary thing for me. I can't do it. It's very solitary. It's sometimes I'll just put on very cool music, or I'll put on something I really wanted to listen to, like a podcast, and that's me, and then I'm done. To have other people around me, looking at me and shit, and it's I'm fucking, I'm a 47-year-old man, dude. I'm not fucking, I don't want to be in a room with fucking people half my age that are going to spend, 3 times as much, looking 3 times as good. My clothes fit, awesome. You know what I mean? That's great. You know what I mean? That's how we gauge it. Clothes fit, we're doing all right. That's what my personal trainer told me. I had one for a while, and I was like, yeah, I just worry about gaining weight. He goes, how are your clothes? And I go, what do you mean? He's like, your clothes fit? And I go, yeah. He goes, are they tight? I go, no, not really. He goes, you're fine. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to step on a scale every day, every fucking day. I haven't done that in a year. I don't think I've looked at a scale in a year. I had to break myself of these very vain habits. I do count certain food things though. I'll count soy crisps. I'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to have 8. This is 7. This is a half of one. I do that. I'm not gonna lie. But I do that during the context of the day when I'm sedentary. At night, what the fuck did I eat tonight? I had 2 giant burritos tonight. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. But I also had nothing but vegan soup and kale today. So it's I was and then I threw some chocolate in there. I was like, this is awesome. So it's everything's different, but everybody's different. My body at 41 was very lean and I didn't have to try very hard. And now going to be 48, and it's you got to try really fucking hard. After 40, your body just does this weird shit where it's up until 40, you can get away with things. And then 41, 42, 43, and you're like, why is this taking so much longer? And I'm like, oh, because I'm fucking old as shit. That's right.
So I don't mean to destroy your voice any more than you've already had tonight. But you mentioned vegan. Are you a full-on vegan, or are you just half?
No, I'm a vegan before 6, man. You can look that shit up. It's vegan before 6. I eat from the time I wake up to 6 p.m. I don't eat anything that isn't vegan. On the weekdays, on the weekends, I eat what the fuck I want because I just have burned 6,000 calories, or whatever, but 7,000 calories. But on the weekdays, when I'm sedentary, which is working, and I used to work in an office 10, 12 hours a day, I am vegan from the time I wake up to the time the fucking sun goes down. And then after that, I eat whatever the fuck I want. I do. Literally whatever the fuck I want. But my calorie intake was so low at that point, you know what I mean? That I'm down 14, 15, 1,600 calories. So at that point, it's well, shit, I can have a big ass bomb dinner and wake up in the morning and run my 9 miles, and I'm good to fucking go. It's a crazy routine. I have massive calves, and that's about it. You know what I mean? Massive thighs. My calves are ridiculous, but that's it. And it's just, but I have no knee problems. I have no back problems, thank God. And I know a lot of people have problems with both, at my age. So yeah, you should look into it because it's a very easy thing to do. Now, by the way, they're not going to say eat whatever the fuck you want after 6 o'clock. I'm saying that because I've been doing this for years. But I started very modestly, I don't eat any processed foods during the day. Zero, none, zero.
I noticed when, back in the day, I tried, not diet plans, but, I would take out certain things out of my regimen. I tried one plan where I took out, sugar. Just, sugar out of my... Yeah. Well, it actually did kind of work, and then I, fell off the wagon, so to say. Yeah. And
I did paleo, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, are these cubes? What the fuck is this? And then I had fucking definition for the first time in my adult life. And I knew it because I would fucking show any and everybody that wanted to see it. But it was too difficult to maintain. And I was just and I don't like to lift weights. I know at a certain point in the next couple of years, I'm going to have to switch over to weights. And I'm not looking forward to it because I'm not a weight guy. But, my arms are very lanky. I have a very tall frame. I'm about 6'1". Probably about 178 pounds now, 177 pounds. At one point, I was 280 pounds. So, I'm glad that I don't have the back and knee problems from that weight fluctuation. But I also have a lot of fat from being 100 pounds heavier that I would have to get surgically removed. So, I'm never going to have, that kind of stature again. It's just fat. It's dead skin. I mean, I'm never going to be able to get rid of it no matter what I do. I probably have to do 6 zillion crunches, but I'm also I'm not that guy. I like running. I like long distance running in all elements. That's a fun thing for me. I do like biking, but I'm not a bike guy. I would do both a little bit. And I like swimming. That's it. I don't do 500 jumping jacks. I don't do wall sits. I've tried all that shit. It's not for me. I don't do fucking planks. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yoga would be something I would totally do. I just can't find the time to put all this in my life.
DDP yoga?
Yeah, I had a friend who did it. He fucking lost a ton of weight,
You said you're a friend of DDC?
I had a friend who did DDP yoga and lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even trying to make fun of it. That's legit shit. He's really helped a lot of people. And
yeah, he really has. And he looks good. He's fucking 60 goddamn years old or some shit. He looks great. But yeah, I think, for stuff like that, to be honest with you, you need to find what worked for you, because I am telling you, the first time you see results in the thing that you did, if it's the 50th thing you did or the first thing you did, that's your thing. That's what, you know what I mean? My thing was, I was walking a lot, and then got myself into running when I got in better shape and I wasn't smoking. And that became my thing. But then also I was biking, but then I liked running more. That was my thing. I tried all the other shit. It wasn't my thing. You need to find your thing. Your thing could literally just be power walking every night for an hour, and you can be like, wow, I lost weight doing this. This is awesome. Now I'm going to keep doing it. And that will motivate you to keep doing it.
All right, because you mentioned power walking before. What exactly? This is going to sound like a dumb question. What exactly is power walk?
It's just you have your pace when you walk. You have your pace when you run. I guess jogging would be power walking for certain people, but I'm a fast walker. I have a long stride. I'm just very New Yorkie. I'm a very fast moving person. So my regular pace to walk is very fast. If I elevate that pace, it's 4.5 miles an hour. You know what I mean? And at 4.5 miles an hour, that's speed walking. That's almost jogging. 5 miles an hour is absolutely jogging. Doesn't matter your size. It's jogging. So I went from just doing long walks, then picking up my pace. And then sometimes I'll just do it just because I'm bored. And I'm just well, instead of running for an hour, I'll just power walk for 2 hours and get my 9 miles in, and I'm 1,300 calories down, 1,400 calories down, 1,500 calories down. And then, I'll make a kale banana shake, and I'll fucking go to work, and I'll have a vegan soup with some soy crisps. And then dinner rolls around. I'm like, I exercised all day. I ate good. I'm up. I'm ready to go. Give me some fucking meat and some fucking potatoes before I beat somebody to death. That's what it is. I also it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? It's just something that you would want to do. But like your thing might literally be, I love fucking lifting weights. I love this fucking exercise machine. I love this elliptical machine. It's my shit. I like doing it. I can do it for long periods of time. I can see myself doing it it's got to be something you can see yourself doing on a regular basis. Like I get up to run and like it's fucking pitch black out. It could be the dead of summer and I don't want to fucking do this shit. Like I don't. Nobody's going to make me do it. I make myself do it. You know, I fucking grab the clothes. I fucking grab my headphones and I'm 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And I'm like, fuck, like the anxiety of like getting ready. My fucking calves hurt. But I'm like, here we go. Time to fucking make the donuts. But then like 15 minutes in and I'm like, well, shit. Let's finish this fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like a half hour later, like, let's finish. You know what I mean? It's like there's always a finish line. I like that about it. That's what I like about running. It's like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I don't feel that way with weights, with repetitions of weights. It's like, oh, I'll do my legs today. I'll do my back today. I'll do my arms tomorrow. I'll do my legs tomorrow. And I'm just like, I like the routine. I think you need to just find a routine and find something that you could do that you know you will not stop before it has any good impact on your body. You know, we all join gyms and then quit 2 months later because we fucking hate it. You know, I don't hate it, but I don't enjoy it. It's just something I know I need to do because I like being able to sit in my TV and eat a fucking, burrito the size of, South America because I'm fucking thousands of calories down in the day. And that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to do more than that right now. And I know also at a certain point in life, I will not be able to do that much longer. So this is like I'm getting in all my bad eating the last couple of years of my life before I got to start eating like a grown up.
Yeah, because like I've always been told, there's like a certain age in your 20s where you can pretty much eat as much as you can, and then after that, that's when it starts to get worse.
Yeah, 30s. Yeah, you'll definitely hit a wall. Everybody's chemically, it's very different. Everybody's chemistry is different. But like I said, you need to find something that you like to do. It could be a bike. You might be like, fuck, I really like this bike. I can see myself doing this shit. I can see myself doing it. It might be swimming. Be like, fuck, I have an option. A place I can go to swim like 4 times a week. I'm going to fucking go do I love this shit. It's fucking awesome. Who doesn't want to go swimming? It's awesome. But it's got to be something. The power is in the repetition. The power is in the consistency of it. I was running, I want to say like 7.5 miles a day, 6 days a week. And my wife made me stop.
Yeah.
Because she was like, this is fucking ridiculous. So what did I do? I ran 9 miles 5 days a week. And she was like, that's not what we fucking talked about. But it's like, but at least the weekends, I'm not like one of these people. Like, I gotta go and do my thing, and I can't take my kids to this because I wanted my weekends to matter to me. Like, so yeah. I'll have fucking, some crazy lunch that I would never have on a Monday through Friday. But I've just worked out so much this week that I feel okay with doing it. And I'm not big on vices. I used to be a huge drinker. I really don't drink anymore. I seldom drink. Smoking, I haven't done in about 8 or 9 years. Yeah. I'll have a couple cigars a year, but even at this point, I'm just kind of like, kind of over it. You know what I mean? It's not really my thing. I was never a drug guy. That was never my shit. I was a Guinness and a Marlboro guy. That was my shit. Guinness, Marlboro, and like 6 slices of pizza. That would probably be my. If I was going to the electric chair, I would be like I would like a Guinness tap, a giant pie, meat lovers pizza, and a pack of Marlboro Reds. And as soon as I'm done with all of them, you could fucking kill me because I don't need to live anymore. I just don't. But yeah, man, find your shit. You know what I mean? You can always reach out to me too if you want to try some shit.
Last question about running. It's gonna seem like an odd question. Like when you started, working out, getting into shape, like you didn't just like jump out and say, "Hey, I'm gonna run for 7 miles today." Like did you kind of like start off small and then work your way up?
Yeah, like 2 or 3, and like complaining the whole time.
You were just like, fuck this shit, fuck this shit, fuck this shit.
Oh, yeah. There was a park in Brooklyn. It's called Prospect Park. It's a very famous park. And it's downtown Brooklyn. I lived across the street from it for years, literally across the street from it. Never went in it. I would look at my window smoking all the time, drunk. And I bought a pair of good sneakers and I just walked the running track. And I was listening to fucking the Deftones shit. And I was like, man, it's so nice in here. Like, why the fuck have I never gone in here before? And then my nightly routine months later would be, I got to run the park. I think it's 3.7 miles. And lo and behold, I couldn't get through the park. I had to stop like 4 times. I remember coming home telling my girlfriend, like, I only stopped twice today. It was 3.2, 3.7 or something like that. And then I think it was last Thanksgiving from my in-laws' house, who lived about 15 blocks from that park. I ran from their house, or maybe it was like, what the fuck is that other big, Yom Kippur, one of those big holidays, I can't remember. I ran from their house twice the park, back to their house. And I was like, this was like, I never could have believed I could have done this when I was living here. But it's just the power of progression. Like, you know, like I don't know that I could run a marathon. I like to think I could run a marathon. But if I run a marathon, you'll know, because I will never stop talking about the fact that I ran a fucking marathon. Because the unlikeliness of me 8 years ago to say that I'm going to run the marathon for my 50th birthday, which I'm planning on trying to do maybe, is just beyond my comprehension as a human being. You know what I mean? But also it's motivate. And also to me, it tells me that like anybody can do it. And that's why I said, dude, anybody can do this shit. Like anybody can do it. Like, I don't want to hear this shit. Anybody could do it. I quit smoking and I lost 100 pounds. I am not the king of willpower. I'm not.
Yeah.
If I could do it, anybody could do it. And that's the thing, I think, what people get misconstrued by people like who work out a lot, but like can't stop talking about it in a way, because they're trying to tell people, look, you don't understand. Like I never, this was not supposed to be me. Like I was never, you know what I mean? I didn't know I was going to spend my middle age weighing less than I did in 10th grade. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I had no fucking idea.
You know what I compare that, you know, what you're talking about, you know, what you just said, you know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And, you know, I'm pretty much just repeating everything you say, where, you know, the reason why, you know, people like you talk about fitness and getting into shape is because, you know, you're forgetting, a couple years ago, I used to be, I was not in the best of shape. Yeah, it's kind of like
I was in horrible shape.
It's kind of like with Kevin Smith. You know, Kevin Smith had that heart attack at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. By the way, he's only a couple years older than me. So.
Yeah,
he's like not even 2 years older than me. So.
And he, was a big guy, and now he's like, like he actually like said he doesn't even fit in. Like I think he said he can fit into his old Silent Bob jacket. Like that's how skinny he is. And
yeah, but also but this is the thing though too, man. There's a finality to this, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like this, like living, you could look. People do whatever they want to do. That's fine. But I used to get winded walking up a half a flight of stairs. And I literally, or if I had to pick a box up in my store, I would be huffing and puffing for the rest of the day. And there's a finality to that. Your body is telling you that this is a fucking problem. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you could live any way you want to live. That's awesome. But I would like to I'm spending the middle age of my life, like wearing clothes I never thought I would wear, feeling like way younger than I am, like infinitely younger than I am, doing cool shit, enjoying it. My father did not do this at his stage in his life, when he was alive. He's dead from fucking smoking and eating shitty. That's why he's fucking dead. So it's like, that's not what I want to have happen to me. So I will not do things at this age of my life to fucking have that happen. That's it. That's really all it is. If I was 28, I would not be living like this because I would still be thinking I'm 28. I don't have to live like this. But it would be so much easier if I did do this at 28. That's for goddamn sure. Because this shit is fucking hard, but it can still be done. And I just think everybody needs to find their thing, the thing that makes you feel better about your progress. And once you see the progress, that's when you go, fuck, this is working. I'm going to do it again. 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 And, as long as you have that amount of discipline to be repetitive about it, it just becomes part of your day. You know what I mean? Like, it's tired, cold, hungry, not into it, not in a good mood, but just make it part of your day so that the quality of your life is better. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going fucking deaf. I have severe tinnitus. I have maybe, 30, 40% in my left ear. All I hear is a fucking car alarm 24 hours a day in my head. That's from years of neglect of being in bands, touring, going to see bands, rehearsing, never protecting my ears. I am now going to pay for that for the rest of my life. So it's like, I don't want the rest of my life to be like my hearing is. You know what I mean? Because I can't make that better, but I can make my blood pressure better. I can make my heart rate better. I can make, my lungs better. I can make, my back and my joints and my knees better by not having excess weight on my fucking body. So, if anything, like I said, find your shit. You will find it. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to fucking happen. And then when you find that shit, you'll be that guy who found that shit. And then you'll talk about it too. For you, it could be fucking keto. It could be CrossFit. You'd be like, dude, but fucking, if I didn't start doing CrossFit, I'd be fucking dead right now in 2 years. For me, that wasn't my thing, but a lot of people, that's their thing, right? We know for a fact it is. Especially like you younger cats. I think that's going to be more of a bigger thing for you guys. You don't see a lot of people like in their 20s being like, running changed my life. They're like, no, CrossFit changed my life. Paleo or keto, eating keto changed my life. Yoga changed my life. I'm a guy, so I do the running.
I can't picture myself doing CrossFit. Like, that just looks painful.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's not my thing. It's definitely not for me. But I got a split. Dude, thank you for inviting me on.
Dude, thank you for being nice enough to be on the show, even though you're like half dying.
Yeah, I got to go take some cold medicine to go to sleep.
All right, man. Did you want to do some plugs? I believe you have a.
Well, obviously, we got Wrestling Soup. That's every Thursday at 9:30. And of course, my brother Kevin's show, DT and KC. That's every Monday following Raw, about 11:15. These are Eastern Standard Times. And then if you are part of our Patreon for Wrestling Soup, you have access to our full catalog, as along with my solo show, Global Balding, and Side Salad. These are side ancillary shows we do just for donors. It's usually just $5 a month. And we're adding more and more content on that shit all the time. We're stepping up on things with video and stuff like that. So it should be an interesting thing in the new year for all that stuff. But, yeah, dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that shit.
Yeah, man, appreciate you too, John. It was an honor and a privilege, and I can't wait to have you back on.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
All right, take care, brother. All right. That is the end of the show. That's unfortunate. There was a lot more I wanted to talk with John about. But, I didn't know he was sick. You just heard him say I think he said like he got sick as soon as he started the show, but yeah, I hope he gets better. I'd love to have him back on. Can't wait, whenever that will be. Hopefully it's a lot sooner than later. But you guys know the drill. Spreaker is our home base. Anywhere else that you guys listen to podcasts, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Please make sure to head over to iTunes and leave a review. Even if you just want to tell me that I suck and that I should, hang myself or whatever, leave a review. Just leave a review. We're also on YouTube. And yeah, every show is Wednesday. I record these on Tuesdays, so expect a show next Wednesday. And we also do secondary shows out of the week, depending on what's going on, mainly like pay-per-view review shows. But appreciate you guys for going out of your way to listen to the show. And if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions you want to ask me, if you want to join the show and talk and shoot the breeze, you're always welcome to. Just get a hold of me on my Twitter, Driari Show, Instagram, The Driari Show, Facebook, same thing. And that's about it, guys. Laters. Take care and have a great